welcome back to Matt's Movie Nights, where I recommend movies and we talk about them. Last time we finished off a couple of Universal horror movies. I've spent most of last year going through the Universal backlog, and we're finishing up here. Started, of course, with the classic Creature from the Black Lagoon, who... I feel like the Creature from the Black Lagoon doesn't get the respect some of the other Universal monsters do. Granted, first off, he's, I think, an original monster. I think the Creature from the Black Lagoon movie was the first time we ever saw Gillman. That's his name. Let us not forget, the Creature from the Black Lagoon's name is Gillman. Everyone calls him the Creature, or the Creature from the Black Lagoon. His name is Gillman. Gillman, I believe, is an original. I believe there wasn't like a book this was based on, so Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman, they sort of have their precedents. Even the Mummy has its precedents. Same to the Invisible Man. Also, this one came out much later than a lot of the other classic Universal monster movies. Like, Frankenstein and Dracula were both 1931, and all the rest of them had come out by, like, the end of the 30s. Wolfman might have been early 40s. I think Wolfman was early 40s, but this was, like, 50s. Yeah, 1954, Creature from the Black Lagoon came out. So it's about 2 decades after the classic Universal monster movies. And yet, it has found itself in the lineup with the classic monster movies a lot. It's the one I think is most likely going to be excluded, unless you're, like, counting the Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom of the Opera sometimes gets included, but usually doesn't. Gillman, it's like 50-50. Sometimes you'll see him in with the classic Universal monsters, sometimes you will not. But I think it's a really enjoyable film. I think it is one of the more interesting Universal monster movies. I would say, of the big 5, it's not as good as Frankenstein or Dracula or Wolfman or Invisible Man, but those are all really good movies, and this is still a really good movie. The Creature from the Black Lagoon follows a team of scientists who find this, like, bizarre fossil, and there's this, like, specific part of the river called the Black Lagoon that they think might hold more fossils like the one they found. And they're like, well, this specimen, it's truly an interesting creature. We've never seen anything like it. I think we have to explore more, see if we can't find more fossils of it. But when they get there, they find that the lagoon actually has very good conditions for keeping the thing whose skull they found alive. And so there is now one of those creatures floating around in the Black Lagoon and causing trouble for all of them. And like I said, it's a really enjoyable film. I enjoy me some Creature from the Black Lagoon. I gotta say, I really like the creature's design. I like they did a really good job with this costume, right? And there's a reason, like, so many future, like, fish people designs would pull heavily from the Creature from the Black Lagoon. You got David Hyde Pierce's character from Hellboy, although performed by Doug Jones, and I believe David Hyde Pierce was even, like, so impressed with Doug Jones putting on the costume every day that he's like, nope, Doug Jones gets the credit for this character, even though he did the voice. It's like, nah, this is Doug Jones' character, give him the credit. He looks a lot like Gillman. Another Del Toro film, Shape of Water, of course, also pulls very heavily from this, although I would say the thing from Shape of Water, it's sort of like if someone tried drawing sexy fan art of Gilman, it's not it's not exactly like this. It's like this, but if it were sexier. But yeah, this has sort of become like the classic design of like fish people. Um, you even kind of saw it in Monsters vs. Aliens with the missing link. Although all the monsters in that are kind of based on old monster movies. The missing link was Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Blob, Bob, I think was his name, was the Blob. There's like the cockroach doctor who's the fly, and then like the main character's the 50-foot woman. Now, this Gilman was actually played by two different actors, Riku Browning and Ben Chapman. Ben Chapman played him on the land, and Riku Browning played him while he was in the water. So they had two different guys in the Gilman suit. And I mean, massive props to Riku Browning, because he was not allowed to breathe while he was swimming as Gilman. The director said, "Oh, this thing has like gills. You wouldn't see any like air bubbles coming out." Now the two sequels to this film, they just had the bubbles come out. They're like, we're not gonna kill our actor for Creature from the Black Lagoon 2, Revenge of the Creature. The third one, The Creature Walks Among Us, was on an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000, which is weird to me. And in the episode, they don't even mention that it's like a Creature from the Black Lagoon sequel, which really gets at like the one and only criticism I have of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Obviously, I am a huge fan of it, but I feel like it is a show that does not go into detail about the histories of these films enough. I don't think they set up enough context for the films that they are looking at, and I think that would make the show a lot better, actually. So this movie was directed by Jack Arnold, who was sort of a regular with the Universal horror crowd, especially like by the 50s. We've actually watched two of his films available on this box set, Tarantula and The Incredible Shrinking Man. And then the third movie in this triple bill, Monster on the Campus, also directed by Jack Arnold. Although probably his best work is the Peter Sellers adaptation of The Mouse That Roared. I love that movie. Probably more than Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's probably my favorite of his films. Creature from the Black Lagoon, though, that's a close second. I really like Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Creature from the Black Lagoon, great movie. This is the only Legacy Collection set I have that is DVD and not Blu-ray, and it bothers me a little bit that it is DVD and not Blu-ray, but on the other hand, the only movie in this set I care about is Creature from the Black Lagoon. It was just it was easier to get the whole set than just the movie by itself. I do have, like, Invisible Man, I just got the individual Blu-ray because I didn't care about the other movies in the Legacy Collection set, but this one I have the Legacy Collection set, and I'm not sure it was worth it. But, I mean, like I said, this was easier to get a hold of than the individual Blu-ray DVD of Creature from the Black Lagoon. I did have a lot of the Legacy. I had one or two of the Legacy collections on DVD, and then I upgraded them to Blu-ray, and this is one I never bothered upgrading to Blu-ray, so... Following that, we watched the Monolith Monsters from later in the 50s. 1957. Monolith Monsters is a story about evil rocks from outer space. Like, an asteroid lands on Earth, and there's like a mineral in it that, when mixed with, like, water, actually. I think it's just water. I think water makes it grow, and it can grow and it will like absorb people and sometimes like crush them and kill them. Sometimes it just infects them and they sometimes they die from that. Although there's a little girl who gets attacked by the rock infection and she ends up fine, of course. It's the 1950s. You cannot kill a little girl. So this scientist is sort of studying the rock formation, and actually the one who discovers it gets killed by it, but then there's another one who's kind of looking into it, and at some point he's like, wait a minute, I think water is what makes it activate. I mean there's parts of it I think I like, but a lot of it is kind of dull, and the monster is rocks. It's not a rock monster, just rocks. That's they're up against rocks in this movie. A rock infestation. I wasn't super into it. It's not the worst. It's probably right in the middle on the universal horror scale. Like there's the classics are on the positive end, and then there's like shit like way on the bad end of this. Monolith Monsters, it falls like right in the middle. This is like absolute middle of the road for universal monster movies, for universal horror movies. I probably liked it better than The Incredible Shrinking Man. That's a bit much. Nah, the sets in Incredible Shrinking Man are really good. Okay, that's like one thing I can give Incredible Shrinking Man. I don't think there's anything I can give Monolith Monsters. There's nothing I can say is bad about it either. It just I'm so very neutral on this film. I really don't care that much for it. Let's move on to, like, who made it, because I have so very little to say about this film. Like, it's not an interesting movie, in my opinion. Directed by John Sherwood, who only directed 3 movies. This, and one of them was Creature from the Black Lagoon 3, The Creature Walks Among Us. The one that was on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Other than that, he made a movie called Raw Edge, which I assume is the Shadow the Hedgehog movie? I'd have to double check, but I believe that's the Shadow the Hedgehog movie. It does actually star the incredible shrinking man, Grant Williams. He's the main character in this. I believe he was the shrinking man. He's the... Well, yeah, okay, his IMDb photo is him fighting off the spider from Incredible Shrinking Man, so... Yeah, I take it he's the shrinking man. He was also in The Leech Woman, one of Universal's greatest films. I think I have kind of a Leech Woman poster. It's a Mystery Science Theater 3000 Leech Woman poster. But I got like a bunch of like mini MST3K posters up, and one of them is the Leech Woman. There's some other names attached to it. Les Tremaine was in North by Northwest. He did not have a big role. He was the auctioneer in the auction scene in North by Northwest. But he is in North by Northwest, the famous Hitchcock film. So we went from this to Hitchcock. Good for him. Or was that before this, actually? When did North by Northwest come out? 59, okay, so that would have been 2 years after this. It was also written by Jack Arnold, the director of Creature of the Black Lagoon. So this was kind of a Jack Arnold night, wasn't it? We watched, one of his greatest films, and then 2 other of his films. Monolith Monsters. I didn't enjoy it that much. I wouldn't really recommend it, honestly. After that, we watched Monster on the Campus. I think I got that title wrong. I think I just said Monster on Campus instead of Monster on the Campus. But Monster on Campus is kind of a better title, I think. Although, reminiscent of the Frankenstein comedy film Big Monster on Campus. I haven't seen it, but anytime I go to search for Monster on the Campus, Big Monster on Campus pops up. I probably will watch that eventually. Honestly, there were two movies on this set that I hadn't seen. Like, I wanted to watch Monolith Monsters. I kind of bought this set just for, like, Tarantula, The Incredible Shrinking Man, and Monolith Monsters, but there were two more on here, The Mole People and Monster on the Campus, and I'm like, Monster on the Campus sounds funnier. We'll watch Monster on the Campus, maybe it'll be funny. And I did enjoy it quite a bit, actually. What happens is they find they find a frozen specimen of this like ancient fish, and like the water leaks out of the box of the fish, and like a dog drinks it, and the dog suddenly reverts to like its feral ancestral form, but like a day or two later it's fine, it's just a normal dog. There's nothing wrong with like, because at the time everyone's like, oh man, it's gone crazy, it must have rabies, we'll lock it up. But then they run tests on it and it's like, no, he's a normal dog. And by the time the tests are done, they come look at him and he's like, yeah, look, that's just a normal dog. Well, then the professor who got the fish gets his hand caught in its mouth. A dead fish bites this man. He gets bit by the dead fish and goes into sort of a haze, and he wakes up the next morning to find like a bunch of stuff has been destroyed and someone has been killed. And so, of course, gradually throughout the film, you piece together that, like, oh, there's some exposure to this fish that reverts you to your, like, primal ancestral form. Very altered states in that sense. Although without the psychedelics, unfortunately. So, like, there's a point where, like, a dragonfly gets in, and then it turns into, like, the giant old dragonflies. And, of course, the main monster, the monster on the campus, is this professor who's got this, like, Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, but he's not deliberately becoming the monster. He just keeps getting accidentally exposed to whatever aspect of this fish is causing him to revert to his primal form. But obviously the monster is him, like when he's in like the primal form, and so he's killing people. But then he tells the police like, oh yeah, I think it's me who's killing people, and they're like, no way, it's an animal, it's got these big claws and stuff. And then he's like, okay, let me show you, and he deliberately takes the stuff and turns into the monster, and it's kind of a werewolf looking thing. I guess it's supposed to be like, like a monkey and ape, although, monkeys and apes, they have like very smooth faces. They've got hair everywhere else, but their faces tend to be very clear of fur, whereas this guy had the big bushy wolfman face. It's entertaining. I mean, it is kind of exactly what you expect from like a 50s creature feature. It is a very typical, like, oh, what's causing all these deaths? Whoa, crazy science experiments. You can probably predict how the movie's gonna go, but it is entertaining for what it is, Like, there is... I say it's a little predictable, but it's entertaining in its predictability. It's like, oh yeah, the classic creature feature, guy's gotta turn into a monster. I enjoy it. I enjoyed it pretty well. I wouldn't say it's a great film by any means. I'm not saying you need to run out and watch this one. Creature from the Black Lagoon, that's something I feel like more people should watch. Monster on the Campus, It's fun. It's an interesting little movie if you want to check it out. I probably won't ever be revisiting it, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Oh shit. Oh hey, look, you know what else Jack Arnold directed? High School Confidential. Okay, I love High School Confidential. That might take my first place spot. I don't know. The Mouse That Roared is also pretty good. High School Confidential, Mouse That Roared, maybe tied. But both of those I would put above Creature from the Black Lagoon, in spite of really liking Creature from the Black Lagoon. I forgot he did High School Confidential. That's a good movie. I wish I could get a copy of that movie. Fuck. Maybe it's on YouTube. I should check YouTube. There might be High School Confidential on YouTube. Stars Arthur Franz, who was the Invisible Man in Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. The boxer who turns himself invisible. It also stars Phil Harvey, who was in the Monolith Monsters. So, lots of people showing up in more than one movie tonight, I feel. This is even sort of reminiscent of Creature from the Black Lagoon in ways, because it is about, like, this fish from the far distant past who's, like a step in evolution and like going back in evolution. So yeah, there's overlap between these films. Creature from the Black Lagoon, I obviously think is better, but Monster on Campus, it's fun. It's fine. If you're just looking for like a typical little monster movie to fill out your evening, Monster on the Campus. Why not? Geez. John Cleveland's in the comments talking about how much he likes Monolith Monsters. Sorry, John, I wasn't super into it. Last time I asked about your favorite Universal monster movies that weren't like, or Universal horror movies that aren't like the classics. I'm gonna think of it. I don't know if I have an answer for this. God damn it, fucking Samsung decided to fucking update my phone in the middle of a recording. I hate Samsung. I hate Samsung so much because they will just update your phone, right? They don't even ask your permission. You wait too long and they just go, fuck you, we're updating. You know, no warning. Just whatever you're doing with your phone right now, fuck you. You don't need to use your phone right now. Fuck you. We're updating. God damn it. Aw. Fucking Samsung. Assholes. Alright, I got my answer. My favorite Universal horror movie that is not one of like the big monster movies is The Old Dark House. I am a big fan of The Old Dark House. Um it's honestly, I think Rocky Horror Picture Show is pulling from The Old Dark House as much as it is like any of the Universal horror movies. It's like it's The Old Dark House and Frankenstein sort of mixed together with dashes of other stuff in there. But it's like a bunch of sexually promiscuous young people show up at this old dark house and get in trouble with the old lady who lives there because she hates sexual promiscuity. So, like, way ahead of the curve on that one, actually. John Cleveland gave us the Monolith Monsters. Sorry, John. I'm really sorry. I was not into that movie. The Man Who Laughs, which I'm interested in. I like the poster for it. The poster for it intrigues me. And The Brute Man. Um, I've seen The Brute Man. The Brute Man, I think, was on Mystery Science Theater 3000 as well. It's a fun movie. I enjoy The Brute Man. Although not a Universal monster movie, I really love the movie Body Snatcher, starring Boris Karloff, and to a lesser degree, Bela Lugosi, and rarely get the moment to mention it. I have heard of the Body Snatcher. I am also interested in watching the Body Snatcher. Maybe we'll make a night of those two. You know, we can put Man Who Laughs and Body Snatcher together and find some other Boris Karloff thing I like and stick that in there. be a good triple feature, maybe. Tonight, my question is very specific because it's a very specific triple feature about a very specific director. What's your favorite Dario Argento film? That's right, we're finally getting back on track with some foreign films. Enough of these fucking American films. Italian films tonight. It's a Dario Argento triple feature, starting with his classic The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Following that, we're going to watch Phenomena. There we go. Phenomena. And then finally, we're going to watch his ever classic Deep Red. Watch those tonight. Actually, not gonna watch those tonight. Gonna watch those tomorrow night. Schedule conflicts has moved movie nights from Friday to Saturday, but I'm probably just gonna keep uploading these videos on Friday. Then again, if I started uploading them on Saturday, that might give me a little more time to make them. I might start uploading on Saturday. Until then, I'm Matt. Have a nice day.